Hello and welcome back to RSQ. We just finished The Coward. And Dakota was reading his reflection, it looks like.
I was reading a picture of myself.
Wow. Anyway, we just finished book one of, I actually don't know if this series has like this is the blank duology or whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's book one of two. First one was The Coward. Not really a small book, but not really one of the biggest books we've ever read. I think it's 424 pages.
Oh, it's the Quest for Heroes series. Quest for Heroes book 1 and book 2.
Quest for Heroes. I knew it had something, but normally it says it on the book, but this one doesn't. Anyway, The Coward. I had a really good time. I read like 51% or no, 49% today or something like that. Something ridiculous.
Yeah, we both did that. Our last day of reading the book, each of us. Mine was yesterday. I read 43% on my last day, and you read like 51% today.
Yeah. It was, let's put the quasi,
one might say.
Yeah, so let's judge this cover. I like it.
I
think
a lot.
It fits, like, that's what drew me to the book. I picked it up years ago. I've had this book for a long time, so I'm glad we finally read it. And I'm glad after all this time, it was a decent read instead of, I've had this for years and it sucks butt.
Let's read it. I don't like it. No.
I hate this.
Why are we doing this?
It's good. And the other thing I like about it too is the theme carries throughout the spine and the back. It's not like disjointed like some books can be. Like it all is connected. It makes sense. And it feels good. I don't know what to say about it. Just something about this feels really satisfying.
It's simple. It's not over the top. I like art of characters, but I also sometimes like it when it's like kind of abstract, so we don't have to be pigeonholed into looking at the character and thinking that's what the character looks like. We get to make it up in our mind.
That's a good point. I feel like this too, like it doesn't give anything away really, but at the same token, after reading it, I feel like this fits the tone of the book very good.
Yes, agreed.
I was like, I looked at it afterwards. I'm like, I get it.
I got it. Yeah, a bit of a bummer we didn't get into this when they were running the broken binding versions of them, and maybe we find them online because the broken binding versions are kind of cool.
Yeah, I meant to look at those again. And if we like the second book, then I might be picking them up. We'll see. But anyway, the cover gets no points because we don't give points for that. But I like it, so it gets a metaphorical point.
It gets a point in our hearts.
Magical point. Anyway, our characters. Let's talk about them.
Let's do it.
You want to start, or would you like to go second?
I will go first. Since now apparently I'm bad cop and you're good cop, be good cop, and then I'll come in and be bad cop.
I'm going to be good cop this book. We can already feel it. So no, y'all out there can't say that I'm a bad guy.
Even though 98% of the time you are. Well,
somebody's got to be. Anyway, our main character, Kel. Love him. I think that his plot essentially was, before this book happened, he was this young, I think he was 17. He like latched on to this group of 11 heroes that were going out to do this crazy mission. They didn't want him. He finally they're like, you know what, you can stick around and be part of the group. And they finished the mission, saved their realm, and he was the only one that made it back. And he was like in rough shape for 10 years. And they're like, you know what? Baddie's back. Do it again.
We need you again. And he's like,
so we have like a reluctant hero, but I like the main character because he's not just reluctant. He's like, I'm just not doing it. And he like was taking the money from the king. Is like, I'm going to dip. Obviously, eventually changed his mind. But I just liked I liked all these characters' developments because we got Jaren, who like was Kel. Like we got to see what Kel would have been like if we would have got his original story, but we got to see it through the eyes of a different character. And he experienced a lot of what Kel went through. Even Kel saying like, wow, this is like literally me, except he doesn't make it. He dies. And he's like, that literally could have been me. Does him dying complete the circle? Like, am I free from this? Which I thought was a unique way of telling the story that we didn't get through Kel's eyes. I felt like we were reading two stories at once. I don't know. I thought it was cool. And then we have the other characters I'll let you touch on. But I liked everyone had a secret, which eventually got revealed.
I had a really strong internal debate about giving character development a full point or a half point. And I think I settled on doing a half point because I really liked the cast and I really liked Kel's development, Garen's development, Bronwyn's development, but I didn't feel like we had this really set cast of characters. It wasn't a crazy amount of people. It wasn't like they're throwing new people at you that you have to get to know. We had set cast of one,
Six.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 main characters, and then we had likable side characters. Sounds good, but I don't think we got enough development on the main cast. I think I'm giving it a half point because
What were we missing though?
I don't feel like I got enough of Malamir, Vali's, or Willow's story to know.
I felt like we could have used a bit more about Willow's story and race. But I felt like Bron's story came full circle. I feel like we learned about Malamar and his, like, once his secret was unveiled, he's like, this is actually why I'm doing this type thing. And then he comes full circle and he's going back to fix it at the end of the book. That's how I felt personally. I just think you're dumb.
Yeah, I'm very susceptible to suggestions, so maybe I change it. But I think I'm gonna stick with my half point and say that I liked Kel's development, I liked Garen's development, and the other development for the other characters felt. The problem was I think that Kel and Garen's was like really linear progression through the whole story, and we got development for the other characters in really small pockets that didn't feel like enough to me. Call me
I
dumb.
feel like I want to argue it. I do.
We can argue it, and I already said like, I had a really strong internal debate here. I was like, do I give this a full point? And so maybe I'm being unfair.
But like,
and maybe I should give it a full point.
Linear character development is fine, but like, I feel like storytelling and character development is well done when like you're not expecting. They're sitting around the fire, and then like you get like a little snippet of like a story from a character, and then there's internal dialogue that you get, or like you got to see different parts of what was it, Vali, like from Garen's perspective when he's sleeping and he hears him muttering to himself and he figures out parts of his past that like the other characters don't know and we as the reader know, but the other characters know. Like we're learning things. Like I like the subtlety of it, because not everything I want to be shoved in my face. And if every character is like, I feel better now because you made me feel better. This one, nice. I think the only two characters I would agree we didn't get enough of are Willow, which I bet we get more in the second book.
Yeah.
And the mother of something or whatever her name was.
If I'm going off of like, if this is a point, if I'm rating this off of just like our main character, I give it a whole point. I get maybe it's nitpicky of me, and maybe I should just give it a full point because I was really torn on it, and I'm even torn on it now. Do I stick to my guns? What book have
we ever rated just on the main character? It's on everybody. It's on the characters, well-developed characters.
I could even give it maybe a 0.75, but I don't feel like I got a full development from all the main characters that were in our cast.
All right, moving on.
This feels wrong. I just felt the world shift. There was a shiver there's a glitch in the matrix.
It's our audience judging you.
Oh my gosh.
Originality and creativity. This one's a point for me.
Yeah, I gave it a point here too. It was unique, original. The story was good. The whole like background, the shepherd, the whole like there was like lots of basic religious themes and similarities, but I thought it was unique the way that it pulled it off. I liked it.
And it went like, yeah. I feel like you get like a reluctant hero, but you don't get a reluctant hero that's like, nah, I'm not doing this, and then ends up doing like essentially the same exact quest twice to like fix the wrongs type thing. It's usually like, you have another chance to redeem yourself by doing something else or training up the next guy to do it or blah, blah, blah. You don't get like, listen, we need you, hero, to do the exact same thing you did before, along with like a lot of other side plots that seemed like we're building up for the next story.
Yeah, it was unique.
Engaging storyline. Easy point for me. I know we're gonna disagree. I'm saying easy point because I didn't have it. You had brought up a point and you said, wow, I feel like this is almost like a cozy fantasy, but not. And I felt like we were getting like warmness from the kid. Like everything almost felt wholesome, even though very not wholesome things were happening. I guess throughout the story or whatever, but I felt like it was told in a pretty easy to follow linear way that I enjoyed. And then we had a whole different perspective that we really don't know what's going on, but it like fed a lot of the background information with Mother of whatever her name is, Mother Harold, or
it was Mother Britak, Brittak, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look at it.
The Reverend Mother of the religion.
Reverend Mother, yes. I don't know. I felt engaged the whole time. I liked where it was going. Some of the stuff was a little bit predictable, I would think. At least the whole I guess that the his barber person was like, I thought it was his dad, but it's just like, just kidding, I'm your uncle. I'm like, okay, so you knew people would guess it was something, but you decided to go with the uncle type thing. Like, but still,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, like things are coming full circle. I enjoyed it. Why'd you give it a half point?
I gave it a half point. I
Yeah,
liked
why?
it. It felt painfully linear to me. It felt too. This is point A. This is point B. The only way to get from point A to point B is a straight line. And I felt like I needed more story elements. I felt like I needed more things to happen, more things to draw me in. It was main objective, point A to point B. That was the whole story. And I just felt like it was painfully linear. That it was like no twists and turns. It was just straightforward. The only
You didn't think
big
there
twist,
was any twists and turns?
I felt like the main twist were the twists that happened at the end, which I gave it a full point in the story wrap up. But I felt like I liked the end, I liked the beginning, and then I felt like the middle was just painfully too linear for me. That it was just, I was waiting for there to be more stuff that happened. Maybe.
See, I thought you were gonna give this a full point because we got some flashbacks. We got like, I don't know, I felt like the characters told stories from like their different eras and like the downtime. There was plenty of things that they attacked and got attacked by. Secret assassins. Like, I thought that there was like, it was a quest story. Like, that's what it was. They were going on a quest and they did the quest. I guess I don't know what else you want from the story. What else was supposed to happen? We have a whole side plot happening at the same time that hasn't even happened yet. There's literally two stories that are like happening and they're about to like.
But the
culminate.
side plot was like, for this book. Okay, I don't know. It was a cliffhanger, so it's hard to say. It's hard to rate the side plot. I know it was hard to rate the side plot for this book because the side plot was almost irrelevant for this book in particular.
Kind of, but not really, because it shows like a lot of like the politicking going on in the background that our main character doesn't care about. So we didn't see it a lot from the main character side because he's like, fuck this, I hate politicking. But
yeah, and it has almost zero relevance for his quest and zero impact on his quest because there's so much plot armor blocking the politics from hitting him. I guess, yeah, in this book, yeah, but like, and that's what I'm saying.
If you sit and analyze it though, you can see where it's going. Like, it's not just like, I guess it didn't affect the main character, but affected the story. Just because the main character doesn't see what's going on doesn't mean you, the reader, don't know that it's happening.
I think I'm going to change my point on this one to a 1. I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I think my real beef was with pacing. And so I will separate those out more in my mind, and I'll give it a full point on the engaging storyline, and I'll continue to elaborate on my complaints in pacing. I feel like that is I don't have what I need for character development to bump it up to a full point, but I will say that I think I can say I'm being too nitpicky on the storyline. But I even wrote in my notes for storyline more to explain in pacing.
That's fair. I can see
that. So I'll let myself be swayed there.
We'll talk about the ending then, since you gave that one a full point. Story end.
Ending was great. I really liked the way it wrapped up. I liked all the elements in the end where they weren't necessarily predictable. I mean, the quest happened, and I liked the magic and the world building and the setting we got in the ending and the way that it wrapped up. It was very earned. It brought it full circle. It was a nice, complete package with the end.
I thought it was cool that, too, everything we knew going into the end actually was wrong. And, like, I like when they do that. Because, like, not everything, like, has to be like, oh, I never saw this coming. But it was like, wow, that was kind of cool. Like, I didn't see that coming. I thought it was really funny, too, that it was an ice leech, not a lich.
Yeah, that was really funny.
I thought that was hilarious.
That was good. That was good.
I did think it was really cool, too, that the main like person in the tomb actually is the god that everybody wants, the shepherd that everyone wants them to worship, that they're killing them for not worshiping right when it's like it's the same. You're fighting for the same thing. I thought
so. Maybe that was the relevance, and maybe that's what I failed to connect in my initial rating there, right? Was the relevance of the politics on the way that the end wrapped up with it being the shepherd that was in the tomb.
Yeah. Going back to the politics though, I thought it was interesting. It didn't affect our main character, even though he had like assassins coming after him and stuff, but like everything being orchestrated on the side with the Reverend Mother with all the different kings and how they feel, because they all want eventually to be like, there is no main king, like somebody could rise to the main king, they were saying. And so she's trying to push all these to the who she wants to the spot. Like, all right, we'll kill this king or he'll die off screen or something, like poison or whatever. And then the son that I've been
she's
teaching from the
orchestrating
beginning. I like the
whole
spider
region.
webbiness of that.
And then yet another category where it's your turn to try and convince me to give it a full point.
Do you want to go first and me rip your point apart? Or do you want...
It's been fun, everybody. All right. World building and setting. Settings were good. I felt like the setting side of things, as we were traveling around, it was a very medieval feel, which it definitely relied a lot on you understanding medieval settings and medieval, like I feel like it explained the areas they were in, but also you were supposed to generally have knowledge that like they ride horses and they wear like plate mail and they have like sled dogs to pull you through the ice. It definitely felt like there was an element of like, I'm leaning on medieval understanding, but my gripe is not with the setting. I felt like we didn't get enough world building or lore. We got some lore in the very end. And then I know that there was like the politics the whole time, but I don't feel like I really understand the landscape. Is this like a continent? And then is there like a sea that they cross to get to the rest of the area? Like, I know that there are 5 kingdoms, but like, I don't know. I don't feel like I understood. I don't feel like if you dropped me there tomorrow, okay, there's a map, but okay, what? Are we just expecting a picture to explain all the stuff, or are they supposed to say it too? And also, I actually don't think the picture was in my book.
Oh, so okay. I was gonna say, I'm like,
I don't think I have the picture in the Kindle.
I don't ever like go back and reference a map because, like you, I want to just know it with your words.
I will 100% tell you, I do not have the map in the Kindle version.
That's fair.
So, but bing, like, bada boomba, I lied. It's right here.
But I understand what you're saying. If you don't have like, there should know what you're talking about without a map. Like, a map is cool, and I wanna have it, but I don't want to need it.
To be fair, the story is told as if it is just them traveling straight up north to this ice kingdom. But like, I don't know, man. Like, they traveled to the north. It didn't say like we had to pass through like multiple kingdoms. It literally did. It talked about different places. I didn't know they were like different kingdoms. You think they like? I didn't. We heard about Algany being explained. We heard about Hundar, and then we heard about like Mir and the towns. But I didn't. Were those the different kingdoms, like the 5 kingdoms with the 5 kings? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't need. So is the 5th kingdom like Kinnan? I guess, yeah. Kinnan. Did they mention that though in the book?
That the kingdom was Kinnan? Yeah, because it's like, that's what people from Kinnan look like. He says all the time, like, oh, I know this person's from there because they're from Kinnan. I don't know.
Maybe I'm an inferior person. But I felt like I didn't understand.
And that's a fair point. Like, I'm not going to disagree with you if that's how you felt about it. Because that's just one, like, if you don't personally get that. I felt there was enough in there. I had no issues.
Maybe your brain's bigger than mine.
Maybe it's because... Were you skim reading, Dakota?
I was not skim reading. Were you skim reading?
No. This is actually... I feel like one of the books I've read most recently that like I really, not that I don't take my time with the books, but I was like really like making sure like I went back and read and understood, and instead of being like, oh, that paragraph probably wasn't important, like I'll just keep going. But I thought the setting was fine. I didn't have any issues with it. I could figure it all out from the writing. But I felt like the world building was enough. I think we could have used more. Like I said, I did like the politicking with like between the different kingdoms. I just felt it was more build up for the second book, so we didn't get a lot in this one. So I guess I could see how we could have gotten more. But in terms of like lore from, I guess, like the different warriors and like the state of the kingdom and the religion, like I felt like, and like the magic and stuff, I felt okay with all that. Like I was fine with it. I gave it a point. I could see both of our.
I didn't know that I feel like we didn't even know if there was magic until the very end.
I mean, how do you explain the ice lich that?
Because that was
makes
part of
the whole world.
That's part of what we didn't know until the end. Was like, is the ice lich real? Is this like actually? I mean, like I felt like there was definitely an air of like, because even Kel was like, "What happened? Was I cursed? Did I really like?" And like he got there and was like, "Did I actually kill her? Was it all made up in my head?" And they were like, "How did you get out before?" And he was like, "Oh no." So like I felt like there was definitely a big aspect of like mystery that was like, is the supernatural even real? Because that was the whole side plot with the like church was like the supernatural's not real, only the shepherd's real. And
Yeah.
so there was really no other magical, fantastical elements outside of the ice lich in the north. And so I was, which is not like bad. I think that was kind of intentional, right? Like that was part of the story. But I was like,
I don't disagree with your point. I just think there was enough for me for what this story. Like, not everything is gonna be like Mistborn level in depth. Like, I felt like this story gave us what we needed for what it was, and I was okay with that.
this is interesting because I feel like this is normally the opposite. I'm normally you're normally a much harsher critic than I am.
What to tell you?
Yeah, I don't know either.
Pacing and structure. We both gave this a half point.
Why? Why'd you give it a half point, Curtis? How could you? This book was perfect.
It was so good. The structure was good. I just felt like the pacing at some point was a little slow. I felt like once we hit like the ice stuff, I feel like a lot of, even though it was like it helped develop the characters, it felt like there could have been a little bit of variety in the things that were happening to them, which made it just feel kind of a little redundant.
Yeah, I think that was my biggest complaint with this book, and probably why I'm struggling to put into words other parts of the book that I had problems with, because I think that like what you said, that's why I said it was too linear. Like the pacing was completely, there were parts of the story where it's like I feel like there's the same things are happening over and over again, and it's just like a big travel scene. And there are some useful things that are happening in this big travel scene, but it's like they're attacked by bears. Now they're attacked by this other animal. And it was like I felt like it wasn't a ton of unique interactions that were happening to our main characters. There were a few.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying.
Like running across the ice and the ice breaking apart, that was cool. But like just like a bunch of situations where it's like they're traveling and they're attacked and they're traveling and they're attacked. I felt like that was kind of redundant, and it took me like probably 30% to get into the book.
I think I was a little bit more forgiving with it because we've read a couple of books over the past like 2 months where we didn't get anything during traveling, which is we went to here and it was good, and then the thing happens at the city, and then nothing happened while we were traveling. Then we made it to the city, and so while things were happening while we were traveling here, so I was like, okay, this is good because things are happening.
Yeah, I think the opposite for me is I was a little harsher because this was just a travel book. Like it was just the quest. That's what I'm saying. There was just the only story element here was point A to point B, and so everything in the middle that was just travel, when it was like feeling redundant, I think that's why I also had some complaints about the storyline, right? Like I was like, I need something more happening in this middle area. But I will say that I did have an appreciation for the slow moments where we got to know the characters.
Yeah,
because that was something we've complained about recently in a couple of books that were really fast paced, and it's like we need to slow down for a second and understand like the characters and let the characters process things. So I gave it half point in pacing, and I think it's spiderwebbed into me judging in some other categories maybe a little harsher.
that's fair. I mean, pacing can affect a lot of that. Emotional impact.
I think this is the strongest or second strongest category for me for this book. It was a really emotionally impactful book. I thought that like not that I was necessarily like sad, but that the characters felt like really strong emotions, and they experienced like emotional moments that were they didn't feel like made up. Like Bronwyn's and Malamir's arc was very, very emotional. Her coming and being like, I defeat everything, and he's like, you're lonely. And then they fall in love, and then her getting to like put her dad to rest, and him going through the like, I just met you, but I want to marry you because can't imagine living without you. It was all like the emotions were strong. Kel's emotions were strong. I definitely a slam dunk for me in the emotional category.
Yeah, I would agree. I gave it a point just for I think every single character. That's why I gave it the full point in the well-developed characters, because I feel like they all had an emotional thing they had to overcome, and I feel like they all did it really well. Minus Willow, I guess, didn't really have a lot of emotional. Well, I felt like I could feel the strong emotions when battling the Lich, like how
her,
upset
anger.
that she was during that. Like that.
How
was
could
cool.
you do this?
How dare you stood where he stood?
You're not him. You're not him.
So yeah, point for me. Writing style and prose, easy point. I don't even know what to say to that. I feel like it's good.
Structure, you have it or you don't. It had it. Prose, no stumbling over words. It wasn't clunky. It was appropriate.
Yeah. I am actually going to backtrack. I am changing my world building and setting to half point instead of 1.
Welcome to the club.
The more I think about it, I felt like we could have used more explanation on like the magic. I understood it was happening. I understood for the most part why it was happening, but not how it was happening. I guess. So
Resisting from dunking on you on camera right now. Welcome
you're a piece of poop.
to my line of thinking.
Your line of thinking. No, that's why we talk about these things. Meaningful themes and depths. I feel like this is another easy one.
Yeah, it was really strong in themes.
I felt like in the beginning, I mean, you have like the ones that you could easily pick out. You have like, I guess you could almost say found family. More so like traveling partners. Like, I don't know how I want to say that. A lot on self-reflection, never meet your heroes type thing. But then you get into like, I don't know, some deeper stuff that I feel like you could take away and think about more, like believing what you're told versus what you actually see and experience. Like, and that was a big thing, like with the Reverend Mother, like we have to teach them young when they're malleable. So that way they're like, they'll believe even into adulthood because that's what they taught them young. And that was Jaren's whole development was he was told this, and this, and he saw it in real life. You're like, whoa, people are a lot more differenter than I thought.
I really liked how they did the innocence of and arrogance of youth. I really liked how they did that theme and how they explored it. And I think it hits differently too, even as like a dad. Like Kel works really hard to explain to Garen, like, hey, like I went into this journey thinking I was invincible, wanting to live this life, and then it was awful and I hated it and it ruined me. And it's like he does everything he can to show that to Garen. He ties him up, he kicks his horse away and tries to leave him behind multiple times. And Garen still comes, and then he ends up where Kel is the beginning of the book. And it's like, it was fantastic. It was like, you can't really, and it's like, even looking back at like my past and like growing up, you don't, like, people warn you of things that are tough. They tell you that like marriage is hard and having kids is hard, but you don't know these things until you're in them. And I think that part of being human is probably how you justify to yourself that it will be okay. And it is okay. But like, I think we have an inability to see the difficulties and the struggles for moments before we're in them.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
That was very well said. I mean, we got to see the arrogance of innocence in this. I feel like the whole I'm youthful, so I'm immortal, and you're stubborn in your immortality because you're 17 years old and nothing can kill you. And that's just because you haven't been through anything yet. I think that was very well played and thought out in this book.
Yeah, themes were good. Themes were strong.
They were strong. I don't know how to feel on rereadability and lasting impact. So you go first, and I need to thunk.
I've thought about this category a lot. We've talked about it in depth lately. I think for me that I am only going to be able to give points in this category for a book that I really love the world. So for rereadability, for lasting impact, I had to really love the world. And I had to really think that like, I want to come back to this world, because we've talked about how when you read things again, it's not always necessary to read things over to remember it. Like Project Hail Mary is one where it was like, it's one of those books where if you could forget it and read it again, it'd be amazing. But reading it again, you know, all the like twists and turns. So it's not that you need to reread it again. But like for me, Engineer's Mechanic and trying to think of another one that I gave points to for this one lately. We've read so many books. Isles of the Emberdark. Like those are worlds that I want to be in, and I enjoyed the journey through those worlds so much that I could see myself coming back to it because I liked the world.
I wonder if we almost put for rereadability, like we want as a caveat, like meaning we want more of this story and to be in this world instead of just I want to reread the exact same story. Because that's where I don't give it a point, because I don't reread books all that often. Like once I read it, even if I love it, I'm not typically going to reread it. So
I mean, but you're going to reread Red Rising.
Yeah, I am. That should tell you how good it is.
That's what I'm saying, though. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying by saying I reread.
No,
Red
we're
Rising.
agreeing.
No, yeah, we are agreeing. I'm
just saying that in the future, I think in my own brain, I'm going to be like, to give it the half point instead of just I want to reread this exact book, it would be I want more in this world.
Yeah. So anyways, all that being said, I gave it a 0 here because the world didn't draw me in. I wasn't in love with the world. And I don't think that it was so linear and so simple that I don't think I'm ever going to be like, what happened in that book? Like if we waited 2 years to read the second book, I don't think I would need to reread the first one, because I would be like, oh yeah, they beat the Ice Leech. That's what happened. Anyways.
It's fair. I am giving it a half point. I would agree. I don't know about the rereadability. I probably wouldn't reread. I'm excited for the next part of the story, but outside, like once it's done, I don't, at least up until this point don't feel I would need like, oh, I wish there was a third book or a prequel or something. Like I got in, got out. But I do think Lasting Impact, it was good. I really enjoyed the themes, and I think it was more personal for me because I saw this book and I bought it and I got it. So actually it was gifted to me, I believe, years ago. Like I've had this for so long. And I keep wanting to read it, and I haven't because yada, yada, yada. And then finally we put it on the wheel, and then we didn't get to read it for forever. And then we spun it, and I was like, hell yes, finally.
Here it
and
is.
It happened before we read a
It
book that I was
came
excited about,
full
and it
circle.
wasn't great. So for it to be a book that I enjoyed, that I've had for so long, feels good. Because what comes to mind, I'm going to bring it up again. I had Atlas 6 on my shelf for so long, and I read all 3 books out of hatred. They were terrible. If you could read one book to kill somebody or want them to die, it would be that book. 2021 this came out. So I must have got this right when it came out.
Yeah. 4
Anyway,
years isn't that long. It's not like
you
that.
should have to read Atlas 6 before you get put in the chair for like a final punishment before they electrocute you.
We can kill you, or you can read Atlas 6.
Or you can opt to have the chair after you read the book if you really need it, which you will. I wonder if it's even that bad,
Atlas
or if
6
I'm just,
is-
the more I remember it, the worse it gets.
Atlas 6 is your Babel.
No, this is worse than Babel.
I think I'd almost make you a pact that I would read some Atlas 6 if you would read Babel. Both of our hate reads and see how the other person feels about it.
That would actually be interesting.
Yeah.
And interview the other person. I like that. Table that. Write that down somewhere. You got paper? Write it down. No, actually write it down.
Yes,
We
yes,
forget.
yes.
We have good ideas and immediately move on.
I'll add them to our spreadsheet that we made for video ideas that we've used all of 3 times.
Yes, queen. So my total score was 8.5. Yours was 7.5. That gives us an RSQ average of bing, 8. 8 or potato. I feel good about that score, even though it's like lower than mine.
Yeah, I will
I'm
say.
like, I'm fine with that.
I
I feel
will
like 8's
say.
good.
This was definitely fantasy comfort food. I would definitely recommend it. It's a very simple read. You get thrown into a fantasy world. It's not all that special. I had the gripes that I had, but it's still fantasy comfort food. Without being a cozy fantasy that's like grab a cup of coffee. It's still like throw on a blanket, turn on your lamp. Go
This
into
was a good
fantasy
comfort
world.
read without it being a comfort story.
Yeah, without it being intentionally cozy, it was a good like. You want a simple fantasy book? You're looking for something that's in a fantasy world?
I feel
Check
like
it out.
the themes and what the characters like mentally went through and like their development for me made it more cozy too. To me,
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, the themes were very wholesome. They were very wholesome themes. The character arcs are very wholesome arcs. I mean, there's everything from overcoming trials to love. So it was good.
So, yeah.
Definitely RSQ recommended. Check it out. You'll enjoy this book.
Wonderful.
And if you read this book, tell us you read it and that you took our recommendation.
Yeah, and we'll talk about it together in the comments. Anyway, thanks for watching. We appreciate you. We will see you in the next one. Peace, love, happiness, hope.
RSQ out.